Okay. I might start sharing my screen anyway. Just give me to get this PowerPoint up.
Hey everybody on YouTube, today we're doing an update on Mason's strategy for optimizing. We're in Discord if you'd like to come and join us.
How are you all going anyway, guys?
I'm going extremely well. How's William?
Oh, good, thanks.
Good. How are you? Good, yeah.
Nah, that's good.
You've got a couple of hearts going on in the stream as well for you.
Just bear with me. I've never done any YouTube or anything like that before, so this is my first time.
No problem whatsoever, mate. Take your time.
Okay.
William, would you do me a favor and check the streams coming through and the sound is coming through? I'll do it. YouTube. William or Vlad, would you check that there's sound coming through to the stream for me? Because I can't do it on my computer, otherwise it will echo through to everybody.
And for some reason, it doesn't want to actually go live on the PowerPoint presentation, but I can just take it down and go live on it without actually having it in presentation mode. So I might just do that.
Okay. Sure, the sound's working. Just muted very quickly as well to say that the DaviddTech in the Facebook is not me offering BTC for free, and the various Toastery or whatever his name is, they're spam. Please be careful of spam.
Okay. How many of you guys can see this when it comes up?
Hey Mason, I have a question here a bit.
Yeah, no worries.
Can I ask it now?
Yeah, of course you can. We've got a bit of a second while I'm trying to do all this. So yeah, any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, I could not trigger my atoms like from your settings. Do you have any problem with that in your site?
No, my Atom's gone off today as well, and it triggered 3 trades last night. Except I think one of those trades we discussed in the comment section that one of those trades was actually because I'd set the dynamic position size on it, and I think it just triggered 3 trades instead of 2 because everyone else was using the settings I posted, and I just quickly switched it around for my account portfolio size to use the dynamic positioning. But I'm not exactly sure why yours wouldn't be triggering at all. Have you asked William about that? Because he's the man to go to about actually setting up the bots themselves, because I haven't heard anyone else speaking about theirs not triggering at all.
There's a lot of people saying it in the group though. Like I see.
What's that, sorry, mate?
Wait. No, it's okay. I will talk to William about this.
Yeah, yeah. William's
Yeah.
William's the guy that owns, well, has the trigger trade. So it's best to directly talk to William when you have a problem. He does like one-on-ones. He'll help you to. He'll sit on Zoom and help you set it up so they'll trigger off with no problems.
All right. Thank you.
Just send you a message, Royce.
So it's telling me that I can't stream into this channel apparently.
Okay, just bear me a couple of seconds. Maybe
That
let's put-
makes sense as to why that's the issue. Yeah.
Okay, presenter. There you go. You're now a presenter. I believe that it should work now.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
All good on my end.
So if I can you guys see that all right if I'm moving through the screen, or
Yep.
will it turn off if I okay, perfect. No worries. Well, it was recommended last night that I do a squeeze momentum 5-minute, which I must admit I don't really like the anything under 15 minutes because I don't really think it lasts a very long time. You have to constantly re-optimize it, and it's just not my preferred sort of thing. And squeeze momentum, I actually used to really love it, and then I think because it's one of the most, if not the most, used indicator on TradingView pretty much in the whole world, I'd say whoever the whales have definitely adapted to the squeeze momentum by this point. So I've been finding recently strategies I've optimized on any time frame, even the AXS. I'm having trouble to actually get a new updated optimization for that one, unfortunately, but I gave it a go anyway. And I was actually about halfway through this one, and I got it up to about two profit factor, 50% profitable, 36 total closed trades. I'll see if I can get into my PowerPoint because that's where I actually go over the step by step. Can you guys see that on my screen if I bring that up?
We could
The
indeed. It
PowerPoint.
flashed and then it disappeared. So we saw it for a couple of seconds.
Okay,
And now we have the TradingView screen back up.
Right, okay, because that's sort of what I wanted it to be on. I'm going to have to try and share it again. No idea why that screen won't come up. I'll just go to the screenshots and see if I can bring up in my folder and see if I can just do it all through the screenshots that I took and saved in there before putting it into PowerPoint. Sorry, guys. But might actually have it here. Here we go. Okay, can everybody see that?
Just loading now. Yep, Bitcoin. Yep, got it.
Okay, perfect. We can actually start off how we were supposed to now. Okay. Yeah, so I was just going to start off by, telling you a little bit about myself and sort of how I got into trading and why I created the Mason Optimization tab.
Sorry.
Ye-
We're just muting them for you, don't worry. So, trying to find
Yeah,
out who
thanks,
it
mate.
is.
No, all good.
Okay, I believe that they're muted now.
I've done it.
Okay,
Oh.
thank you very much.
Perfect. Thanks, William. Appreciate it. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, as everyone knows, my name is Mason, and I got into trading I've only been trading for probably a little bit over a year now when I had a really bad car accident about halfway through last year. Yeah, I think, most people in the group would know about it because I posted when I was in hospital when I was away for a few weeks. Like I've had surgery after surgery since then, so it was a bit of a life changer for me. Before that, I ran my own electrical company. I ran that for 5 years, and yeah, I just since the car accident, I can't do any physical labor or anything like that anymore. And I guess through the recovery, I just come across trading. I was on YouTube, pretty depressed at the time, for obvious reasons. And yeah, I sort of just started watching YouTube videos, and I'm sort of an all or nothing type of person. So once it clicked for me, and I thought, oh, I can, this is actually something I can do sitting down. Yeah, I just spent every waking hour since for the last year almost learning to trade. I started, how every normal trader would, looking for that perfect indicator, that one magic ticket that's going to rocket you to the moon, which realistically doesn't exist. I blew through a hell of a lot of money in the beginning. That was a little bit of a dark time, but I think it's also a learning process as well. And I think most traders go through that, especially if they don't have anyone to teach or guide them. And, as I went through, I got to a point where I said to myself, okay, well, I'm not going to trade again manually until I have actually made sure that I've completed these challenges on paper trading. I'm not going to blow any more money. And so I just kept researching, stopped trading for a little bit, and then I come across DaviddTech. And the reason I started the optimization tab is because when I first joined DaviddTech, I think that was back in October last year. So I haven't been here all that long, but I would say a lot longer than some of the people that are taking a look at the optimizations and trading along with me. But I was completely confused. And when you first join DaviddTech, the only flaw that I found with it is that it can be difficult, because when I joined, at least for me, I just expected to come in and the DaviddTech platform or whatever would just set it all up for me, and all of a sudden, I'd be making money left, right, and center, because that's just. But nothing works like that. It just doesn't. If it worked like that, everyone would be a millionaire. Simple. So it took me a good month, I'd say, to actually figure out what I was doing. I kept trying all these different ways of optimization. There probably was information for me out there, and I know there is, because there's ways of finding out how to optimize. There's videos, but I was just overwhelmed, I suppose, with the just amount of stuff that is on the DaviddTech platform and website. I just couldn't figure it out. So once I did wrap my head around it all, and I started helping new users, and once I'd become profitable algo trading, all of a sudden I thought to myself, when all these new users were coming in, I was just thinking, well, they're all now in the position I was, and it was the question that someone asked: can you be profitable like at all with DaviddTech strategies? Like, and it was in a way that I was thinking, I understand how you feel, because before you understand how to optimize, before you get how the strategies actually work, that's sort of what you're thinking. That's what I was thinking anyway. So I decided to put this together for new users and anyone really to follow along with the trades that and the strategies that I've found profitable. Everything I've posted, I've tested for, apart from the most recent, the FEMA. I've traded myself for at least a month, and it's always been profitable for me. I've got a result backlog. I've only just recently actually signed up to Coin Market Maker, so I've created a new sub account for that. So that should actually be able to give me a much better profit and loss evaluation for each strategy for you guys that I'll actually start uploading with the strategies in the future. But yeah, so everything on there, I know that it's made me money, but at the same time, I can't promise that it's going to make you money. It's the same, when I was in hospital, we had the issues with a few things getting bugs, and I wasn't here to fix them. I think that was with the move to break even. It was working. It was either working for me when I was testing the strategy, or I got lucky and I didn't actually need it. Maybe through the initial bull run when I was testing that strategy. Anyway, yeah, sorry I wasn't around to fix that one, but that's sort of why I did it. It's just mainly for new users to be able to follow along, and I'm really comfortable trading the strategies that are up here. I've recently created the updates and pause bots in case I do notice that the market isn't responding in the way it should. Well, if the strategy has stopped working completely, which I don't think, if it's not a bug, it shouldn't happen, because you really do have to expect those downtimes where a strategy doesn't perform how it should be, or if you go through the backtesting results in almost any strategy you find, if not every strategy you find, you're going to see especially if it's the deep backtesting, you're going to see a string of 3, 4, 5, 6 losing trades in a row. And I got asked the question last night, oh, well, all of a sudden this strategy's made an extra losing trade than it has before. And they were wondering if it actually mitigated the strategy altogether, and I said, no, it definitely doesn't mitigate the strategy, because, it was an altcoin, I believe the strategy was on, and it's just like, because I've been trading it for, I think it was the Lonesome Trend actually, because I've been trading it for months and months, that one I've been trading since V2, I've gone through a lot of times where I've had losing trade after losing trade, but the way that's set up is that once it comes back, I think the risk to reward, it's not set, but it's based off of the strategy itself. It works out to be roughly at least 1.5 to closer to even 2 to 1 risk to reward the majority of the time. So even in those down times, a string of two or even one win will really bring you back up. And you just have to expect that and take the good times with the bad. And I've gone through all that sort of stuff, and I think everyone else just needs to realize that back testing results, they don't always show, that they're not indicative of future results, but at the same time, that's the reason I do the live testing. That's the reason I make sure there isn't any bugs. That the amount of strategies I've actually traded that I've thrown in the bin would be, I'd say, 90% of them. The ones up there now are the ones that I've taken off of the account, which I've got a few of my main strategies running in them, and I've also got a lot of strategies I'm testing running, and I sort of try and counter it, but most of the time those little accounts get blown. So you have to understand the backtesting results aren't everything. It's the live testing results that really are the bread and butter of it. And who was it, David? The guy that come in that had won awards for algo trading. What was his name?
Kevin Davey.
Kevin Davey. Yes, like he said, it's really about the incubation and stuff, and that's sort of what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, that's sorry for the enormous rant there, but yes, that's a little bit about myself and why I started the strategy tab. Okay, let's see if this works, and I can swap over to the next slide. Okay. So now I just want to run you through a step-by-step guide on the squeeze momentum, because I asked in the post I put up last night if what strategy people would like me to do a step-by-step guide on. It was suggested the most that it was a 5-minute scalping strategy, which I must admit I don't love because I find they really don't hold up in backtesting results. Deep backtesting results. If you're optimizing them consistently, and when I say optimizing them consistently, I mean in the way I'll show you a bit later on. But if you want something that's going to be reliable over a period of years, then I wouldn't ever recommend a strategy under 15 minutes. 15 minutes seems to be the best time period for most strategies, but I've also found that higher time frames also work really well. I guess that's what I'm actually trying to achieve at the moment. David and I have worked together a little bit. David's in the process of coding the updated version of my manual scalping strategy that's been working really well for me manually. There's been a few little hurdles that we've had to jump over to actually translate the way that I've been trading it manually. I've had really good feedback from you guys with it, which I really appreciate. But yeah, we've had a few hurdles to actually get that put into a bot, and for AI to actually be able to, or code, I should say, to be able to understand how it's traded. I guess the thing that I didn't realize is how much of my common sense and stuff that I was using when I was actually placing the trades manually, I would just subconsciously be also thinking about market structure if we're in an overall uptrend or downtrend, and that's why I've created the update, which I think will give us a lot better confluence. Something that we can trade on a lower time frame like the 5 minute, because I know that's what everyone wants. That hopefully will hold up throughout deep backtesting as well. So I've given it a go on the squeeze momentum. These are the original default settings when I jumped in there. My plan was to, as I said at the start, optimize it for a random altcoin, and then I was going to use the optimizer to run through the entire coin list, and then I'd take results from that. But that's why I was late. We had the issue with the optimizer, so I wasn't actually able to do that. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have chosen FTM. But we'll continue anyway. This is what I do to start with every time. I don't like optimizing straight from the default settings. I like to, as I'm sure you all know from my posts, I'll turn the dynamic leverage off. It's not really for any other reason than I think whilst optimizing, for one, I don't have to take anything into account apart from it's sort of what I use as a baseline. I'll use 5% position size and manual 5% of account, and for this strategy I just put in 10 leverage, and I'll use that as a starting point. And what results I get based off of my first test, then I can start thinking about whether I'm going to optimize them in an annealing fashion or a random fashion, and start to try and do things in little sections. But my initial backtest, after I've changed this, I also turn off Saturday and Sunday. And then the first step I'll take is always a sequential backtest for either profit factor all or Sortino ratio. Generally, I find for higher time frame strategies, Sortino ratio is the best way to go for my initial backtest. But I think for lower time frame strategies, I always try and test for profit factor. It just seems to work out better for the first backtest anyway. So for this one, all I did was, and this is what I'll do for every strategy as well from a blank slate, I'll run through, and use sequential mode, which it might, as you can see, if you can see that in the presentation down the bottom right corner, the strategy parameters, I'll go through and I'll uncheck pretty much everything that isn't default, like in the default strategy already. So I've gone through, I've unchecked everything, and then gone back through and checked everything in the main strategy. I've checked how it wants to take its trades, whether that's ATR and risk to reward, profit factor, or whether that's fixed percent profit or whatever, and I'll let the optimizer decide that all for me. But everything that's unchecked is the things that are going to make the optimizer bug out, essentially. If I've got it, for example, custom boilerplate checked, or days of the week, I've already got Saturday and Sunday unchecked because that seems to disrupt any trading strategy that you start using. So I'll go through, check all the default settings, and then I'll just run a 500 revolution back test on that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I think.
Yes, yeah, it went a bit bad.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I was talking and then I heard some crackling. Yeah. Anyway, yep. So I run a sequential back test for profit factor in this case, and if I'm using profit factor, I make sure, and you need to make.
Mason, you've been cut off again. We'll just wait around a couple of seconds. You should be back, I should imagine. Hopefully you can hear us.
Yes.
And what you
Mason?
want depending on time frame.
Your
So
screen share stopped.
Sorry.
Mason,
Your
you
screen
got-
share has stopped. You
Oh,
lost connection for a second.
Yeah, you were cut off at sequential when you decided. You told us that you were gonna do a sequential run.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
It was about 10, 15 seconds ago, so it wasn't that long.
Oh, right, okay. No, I was thinking right at the start when I started explaining that I'm like, oh god, okay, well, that's been a while. I'm surprised someone hasn't told me. Hold on, give me a second.
Bad things. I have to.
No worries. Give me a second. I'll try and connect it back again. Okay. Okay, you should see that in a second. Let me know when that's up on the screen, guys.
You're good to go.
Good to go?
Yep.
Okay, so did you hear me speak about the ensuring that you have total closed trades?
No, we didn't.
Okay, yep. So that's really, really important. If you're running any back test for profit factor, Sortino ratio or Sharpe ratio, it doesn't matter as much because they actually work on a formula that's inclusive of needing enough trades to actually get that ratio higher. So it's not going to, like profit factor would, if I just tested for profit factor all, it will give me a strategy with one trade and 100% profitable and a million profit factor, because that's just how it thinks. So you need to filter for total closed trades and just make sure that that's based off of the time frame you're on. So that's just sort of through experience, you know what time frame you're on, what strategy you're using, what the default settings are giving you. In this case, they were giving me over 100 trades. I knew that a decent 5-minute time frame scalping strategy that I've used in the past generally doesn't have, because it backtests over a much smaller period than if you're using 15 minutes, 30 minutes, takes up half of Bitcoin. But 5 minutes doesn't take up that long of a space. I think it's about 3 months, maybe 4 months. Anyway, so I used 30 trades. I was hoping to get more than that. But that was the minimum I would accept. If they were good results, then I'd be happy. But yeah, that's really essential that you do that if you're testing for profit factor. If you're just doing Sortino ratio or Sharpe ratio, I much prefer doing testing for Sortino ratio. That's usually what I'd do on an optimization to start out on a higher time frame, but this is what I chose in this case. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So when you use sequential mode over any other mode, I've found it's really good to give you a baseline, because that's what I struggle with most when I'm optimizing strategies, is actually getting the strategy in the green to begin with. So you saw back there that it said there was something quintillion different optimization results that could have been that could have come from that. And if you had used random, your computer pretty much just would have blown up. Nah, it would have. It never would have finished because of how many boxes were checked. You're only ever supposed to do 2 to 4 maximum at a time parameters. But I found with sequential, it will still just run through them all, and it will pump out a much better strategy. So that only needed 2. I've put this on the screen because it's showing you that in sequential mode, it just runs through it, and 294 revolutions later, it come back to me with much better strategy results. So this is what I wanted to show you next. This is how I went through and picked out which strategy I want after that initial, which set of settings that I want after that initial sequential test. And to make it easier for me, I'll just go onto the Excel spreadsheet that it prints out, and I'm not going to be able to show you this in the PowerPoint, so I'm going to have to go out of the PowerPoint and just go into the Excel spreadsheet itself to show you how to do it all, because I find this helps me a lot when I'm doing the optimizations, because a lot of the time and I didn't realize this for quite some time when I was studying the optimizer and all of that, is that even if you're testing for max profit factor all, there's generally a better strategy overall that comes out in the Excel spreadsheet, and being able to identify that is crucial. So that's why I go into the Excel spreadsheet, and I'm gonna have to get off this screen for a second. Tell me what you guys can see now, if anything.
Yeah, Mason, I have a question here.
Oh, yeah, go for it, mate. Oh, and also, if anyone has a question at any point, you feel free to stop me as well, as long as it's not every 2 seconds. But yeah, go ahead, Royce.
Yeah, does having too much of Sortino is bad? Like, is there a problem that like you're having too much Sortino?
I don't. In my experience, you can never have too much of it. As long as everything else is in confluence with that. Like
even
you
like
can
8,000s? Like,
Well,
have you tried like
I've never seen a strategy with 8,000, because usually it goes to NA before it goes up. Any higher than 160 was the highest I'd had a strategy, but I don't think that's really the point of it. I think it's more to do with how if you had something with an 8,000 Sortino ratio, say, as that example, but you had a terrible percent profitability, 1 in 4 trades were winning, your profit factor was 0.8, your net profit was minus 25%, of course, like, something's gone horribly wrong. So you're going to either start again or try and, I would usually in that situation go through and figure out what's gone wrong. But most of the time,
yeah, I do have a
Sorry?
strategy that's like 8,000 Sortino. I don't know, it's a bug or what.
Well, yeah, no, I can't imagine, as long as everything else is good too, I cannot imagine that it would be a problem. But feel free to send it through to me if you're worried about something, and I'll have a look and let you know what I think.
All right, thank you.
No, yeah, for sure. Any other questions quickly while I'm trying to get this Excel spreadsheet up? And it doesn't even have to be about what I've been going over either, just whatever's on your mind in regards to optimization.
Everybody says that they're going good so far.
Excellent. Okay, well, let me just swap screens here. Well, David, what can you see on the screen at the minute?
Absolutely nothing, Mason, at all. We haven't even got a message to say you're streaming at the moment.
Okay, that's
Close it.
strange. Okay, 1 second then. I'll try and get into the Excel spreadsheet. Oh, it must be going to one of my other screens. I think that's the issue.
And it's asked, at what point in the optimization do you discard the strategy?
At what point in the optimization do I discard the strategy? If I get to a point and I'm just completely stuck, nothing seeming to work, I'm not going to discard the strategy per se, but I will definitely run that watch list test. And that is something that has been since that's been brought out in the optimizations, the optimizers come back online with that added to it. That has been an absolute godsend, because when I've gotten stuck with a strategy, it's it's halfway there, but it's not good enough to trade. That's when I'll start with running it on multiple different time frames to see if I've gotten that part wrong, if I can still use that same coin pair. But then I'll go through and I'll create a watch list. I'll try and pick coins that are, obviously I'll pick my main coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Dodge, SHIB, BNB, Litecoin. I've probably missed a few of my favorites, but yeah, those are the main ones. Oh, Solana, AVAX. I love trading all of those. So I'll make sure that they're all in there. Anything with somewhat higher market cap that's been around with a bit longer, I find that's a lot better to create a strategy on. You've got more data for back testing, all that sort of stuff. And then I'm going to throw in coins that also have similar volatilities as the strategy I'm trading or trying to optimize on. So if I can do that, then I've got a range, and it's going to tell me if the settings are more suited for something with a larger market cap, something that's less volatile, because there's been plenty of strategies that I've found I can't get to work on some high volatility altcoins, or I can't get them to work very well on Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP in retrospect to high volatility altcoins. All of a sudden, it's working in reverse, and I'm getting excellent strategies from these with something with very high volatility, but I just can't seem to get the results from what I'm from Bitcoin. So yeah, that's what I do if I get stuck. I never throw out a strategy completely. Well, that's not true actually. I have there's been a couple that I've gone, oh no, I think I'll just move on. But generally I try and stick it out because I find there's always a way around it. It's just finding the right coin pair, the right time frame, because that's another huge thing, is the actual time frame. Because if there we go, you guys should be seeing something shortly. Let me know when that's up.
Yeah, we can see again.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this and start all of the colors, and I'll start again and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so this is what you're going to get when you download your results from the optimizer. It'll generally, after the optimizer finishes, it will generally just automatically download. So what I do is, because looking at this, it's obviously, yes, you can go through. There's only 40 results there. I didn't end up running the whole back test. I was a lot of the time spent was trying to get the watch list to work, because I really wanted to show you guys that. And also I've got a bottify strategy that's that I think it will make everyone really excited for the next generation of bottify. So yeah, I've been working on a few different things for the presentation, but so I had to stop this one early. But the point of this is how to teach you how I optimize, not to have made an amazing strategy to present here. So I'll go through, and you go up to conditional formatting after you've clicked on the A, B, C, like in a row down. I think that's the columns. And then you'll go up to conditional formatting, and I like to go down to color scales. And then, so you've got to make sure you get this right too. So when you're doing this for something that you like net profit, for example, you're going to want the results. If you look at the results, the highest result is going to be the best. Whereas max drawdown, obviously the highest result isn't going to be the best outcome that you're looking for. So that is dependent on whether you're going to, when you put these colors, this color scale in place, whether you're going to have the green at the top or the red at the top, which is this one next to it. So if you go to obviously net profit, that's going to be green at the top, because the higher it is, the better the result. So there we go. And always, when this prints, by the way, the top result will be the one that actually was put onto your screen after the optimization went through. So already you can see that the one that was actually loaded onto my screen after I ran the optimizer didn't have the highest net profit. I then go through and I'll do net profit long and short, because I like knowing if there's some sort of issue with longs or shorts, but I won't use the colors. What are they called? The color map or whatever it is. I will use these because it sort of just show. Otherwise, it gets too cluttered, and I can't. It's not as easy to see what's short and what's long. It sort of all blends in. So for that, I'll use the data bars, green for longs, and then I will use the data bars, pink for shorts. And then you can actually see it differentiate when it goes into a minus. It'll actually spit out the other side, and it's easy to see what you're looking at, because you don't, in Excel you actually have to come up here and click on it to find out if it's net profit long or short or all. So it's just easier I find to actually have a comparison like that to look at. That's how I do it anyway. And then I will come across to Sharp ratio, and I'll do the color scales again. That's the word I was looking for before. Obviously you're looking for the highest Sharp ratio, so you do green up. Do the same thing with Sortino, and I'll do the same thing with profit factor all. And with profit factor short and long, I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the data bars. And this will all sort of make a bit more sense in a second. That's max drawdown. Okay, so I'll do the same for max drawdown, but I'm going to do it the opposite like I spoke about before. So red at the top, because the higher the max drawdown, the worse it is in reality. And then the last couple of things I'm going to highlight are the total closed trades. I use a different color schematic to actually do that, because I just use green and yellow scale. It shows you, I usually do this for very large optimizations with thousands of revolutions. So on something that only has, 40 revolutions in the actual that the optimizer took, it's really not necessary. But when you've got something that's 500 plus, you definitely do need it if you really want to go through and find something that, find the best strategy or optimization for you that came out of those results. I'll do total close trades, and the last two I'll do is percent profitable all, then long and short. And yeah, as I was, sorry, I stopped talking before. As I was saying with the total close trades, I use a different color because it's not necessarily bad to have less trades. I just use it so that I can sort of see what has the most, what has the least when I'm looking at something with 500 plus optimization, sometimes 50,000 optimization results. Okay. So that's pretty much all I do for that. And then I will zoom out a little bit to here, and it's very easy. And I find with strategies that or optimizations that you do have thousands of results, it's so much easier on the eye to actually pick out now what are your best strategies that have come from that. So, or what your best settings might be. So I'll look here and pretty much just run my eye across the screen and see what has the most green, what has, so for example, number, what's this, number 23 here. I'll zoom in a little bit because that's a bit harder to see. There we go, that's better. You can see all of them now. That one has fairly good results all the way through in comparison to the rest.
So in this
So
video,
it's
we'll look
yellow
at
on max drawdown, one of the greenest on net profit all. It's lacking a little bit net profit short, but its profit factor is relatively even between short and long. It's lacking a little bit in short, which is evident when you look over to net profit. 94 trades. I'd stopped using. I was initially just doing it like the color schematic that I did with net profit and everything else, but when I would look at thousands of optimization results, I found that my brain was discluding great strategies just because they had less trades, so that's why I changed it to this. Or I wouldn't pick up on it when there was only an issue with, say, the shorts in the strategy, or only an issue with the longs, because then you cannot pick up from there and optimize based off of that, based off of the fact that you know that shorts aren't doing as well as longs. So then you can, say, optimize for percent profitable shorts with this amount of total closed trades and this amount profit factor, for example, or above 1 Sharpe ratio if you're already there. But never, when you're using the optimizer, this is another thing, is to never as one of the secondary points, never actually put in, say if you're optimizing a strategy and you want the Sharpe ratio to be above 1, but your previous optimization, the Sharpe ratio, only got to 0.5, don't put in that you want that Sharpe ratio in your secondary optimization add-on, or sorry, filter, that you want your Sharpe ratio above 1, because the chances are that it's just going to discard every strategy where your main option has improved, and it will have, like say you're optimizing for profit factor, everything that's under 1 Sharpe ratio will be thrown out, and you just won't get a better result at all on your profit factor, because it just keeps excluding them, and it won't continue to remember that to improve on it. So say if you're using annealing or something like that to do it, it's not going to try and improve the profit factor if it is not getting the Sharpe ratio that you want, that you're telling it that you want. It doesn't just keep going until it gets there, and once it gets there, it prints you the result with a Sharpe ratio. It doesn't work like that. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So you can sort of, I'm not going to drone on too much more about this section, but I really wanted to show you how I do this, because it is really good to go through, especially when you're doing bigger results, and actually find a better strategy than the one that was put in front of you. So for this one, I think this is the one I took, possibly. Just double check. And then you can just go through the settings, and I manually just go through the settings once I've found it. So I'll click on the column I want, say that's the one that I used. I'm pretty sure it is. And then I'll go to a new sheet, put it in the second row, go back here, and I'll take the whole top row, and I'll paste it in there like that. And then that's isolated from the rest. And I might actually do that with a couple, because you can also go, I'll zoom in a little bit. When I'm doing big ones, you can also go here, and that's why I've got all these saved up the top here. You can go say top 10 items, and you can say, red text, for example, with top 10 items. Obviously, that's the majority of this sheet, but when you're using massive ones, sometimes you'll, if you do that for every section, top 10 items, or you can do top 10% or top 5% over here. You can go to top 10%, you can go all the way down to top 1% if you've done 20,000 revolutions on an optimization. I don't recommend it. It's going to take your computer a long time. I do it just because I've always got one screen available. But if you've got that many results and you do top 1%, it'll probably give you still quite a lot of results. And if you've got the top 1%, a lot of the time I'll find I'll be scrolling down, and then all of a sudden I'll see that all of these bars are aligned down at number 65,000 or something like that. I'll see that, oh gosh, okay, well, net profits in the top 1% here, percent profitable, short and long and all is in the top 1%, as well as it's got the best Sharpe ratio. So, and then I'll realize that, okay, once I actually change the settings in the strategy, the results are just tenfold better. And even if I want to update it more and add on to it more, if I hadn't have actually gone through that process and just kept optimizing, I would have missed all of these settings, this entire line of settings that I then was able to optimize around and perfect. But if I hadn't have actually done this, what I'm showing you now, I never would have found it. And that's actually how I got the settings for the Lonesome Trend, the Solana 30 minutes that I recently uploaded is I
Mason?
found it in like, yep.
I think that I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but your stream has
Oh.
just blocked. I'm not sure. We can't see your screen, but
Oh, okay. Well,
it was
I've
only
just.
it's back. It
Is
was
it?
back, and now it's paused again.
Okay, well, I was actually just about to close that section
Fine,
down
no problem.
anyway,
No
and
problem.
and
Just wanted to
go
make
back
sure.
on to no, that's all right. I appreciate it. It's happened in the past. Can I just ask quickly though, if anyone has any questions on that or anything I spoke about there in general? Actually, I can get the chat up, can't I? So I might just quickly have a look at that. I forgot that.
We're good on YouTube.
Is
and
there
on
much in
Facebook.
there? Or?
And there's no questions except for the Lonesome Trend Custom SL, which I'll answer if you want, because I don't remember what the actual stop loss was for the Lonesome strategy. I'll have to go and have a look
The
back
stop
at it.
loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what was it? The Lonesome Trend strategy. Oh no, that was I think that was based on the strategy itself, or was that the Michonne? I'll just have a quick look actually.
Cool.
Got it up right here, so. Can you guys see anything on my screen at the minute, or are you just waiting?
It's paused, yeah.
Okay, 1 second, I'll get you back. So the Lonesome Trend, and I'll share my screen for a second here. Get it back. Change window. Oh, that's how I do it. Change windows. Perfect.
Excuse me.
Okay, you can
perfect.
tell me what you can see.
We can see TradingView with a nice green.
Okay, so can you see the Lonesome Trend there? I think this is different settings than.
We can indeed.
Okay, 1 second. I'll just load up the settings that I actually use. I was just playing with this one for a little bit. And anyone that doesn't know, that's how you upload the settings to a strategy. If you've got the CSV, you just click down here on the up to upload, down to download, and then click on the CSV once it takes you there, and you will get your results pop up like that. Okay, so the question was about the stop loss. Sorry. Yeah, so it was custom. I thought it was custom. So, which means it's based on the main strategy. So it's the pivot point period or center line, I believe. I'm just going to take it off optimization mode. Yeah, I think it's the pivot point period that it's actually exiting the trade at. Is that correct, David?
It was a long time ago. I built that one, so I can't.
Yeah. See, that's exactly what I'm. Because I knew when I built it, I built the optimization, but I've got the same issue. So yes, see as it hits there. Yeah. So yes, it's that pivot point period. Right up here. So that red line there. So it's sort of got the opposite of this going across the top. So as it takes a short, as it comes down below this second line, I think it's got another line that's going over the top of that. So this is not visible, but it would be the same period or standard deviation, and that's being used as the stop loss for that.
Yeah,
so,
that's correct. I think it's the standard deviation that was the stop loss. I will have a look and I will answer quickly afterwards. In the code.
Yeah, but this scared the hell out of me, this trade, I must say. We were bouncing around here forever. I was thinking, oh, we're going to hit the stop loss, but no, come straight up and took it. Anyway, Okay, I might go on to this Spotify strategy quickly and show you all the results I was able to produce from just this simple trend line strategy from Spotify. And I think if we can just improve a couple of different things, like this is already a great strategy. So if we were able to change a couple of things that I'm going to ask David about, then which I actually believe he's already in the process of working on. Like this could be the next best strategy, I would say.
Are you talking about lonesome?
No, I'm not talking about lonesome. I'm just about to bring up the screen where I've got a trend line. It's a trend line break Spotify strategy.
Okay.
And that's all it is. I've had to use a very high time, like a 6-hour time frame, because it's because of the pyramiding issue that we're having with Spotify at the moment. But it definitely shows the potential you're actually getting from the potential. I mean, that's in Spotify. I'm just changing the setting quickly here, and then saving it so I don't have to change my screen. I can just change the layout that I'm using. Okay. Great. So it's just loading up now, guys. Okay, I'll change my layout. So this is on the 6-hour. Can you guys see that all right?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So this is just using simple trendline breaks. So 6-hour trendline breaks, only 18 trades, but we've been able to achieve. And this is sort of, as you notice the trend is shifting, you can set this for either longs or shorts. So this is using it took a little bit of playing around with because of the whole pyramiding, but we are using, I believe it's a 20 leverage. Our max stop loss is pretty much close to liquidation on it, but with a 72% win rate, I don't think it really matters as long as you're using a small, well, whatever of your account that you're willing to lose. Like that's the thing I think with liquidation is that, say you're willing to risk 1% of your account. That's what you're willing to lose on a trade. There's no issue with liquidating that 1% if that's like, instead of using 5% with a 20% risk on that trade. It's the same thing. So people who are like, oh no, it's liquidated. Well, just you can always use less of your trade, and it's the same as if you were to change the settings around. So you've got a shorter stop loss and smaller position size. But yeah, so you can also change it, and I think you get a few more wins if you take multi-profit. But that's also starting right at the start. Like I've done the backtesting results from the start of the bull run. If I change the backtesting results to allow it to go back all through the bear run, it's actually still half decent results. So if I use multiple take profit, all of a sudden 50 trades, the drawdown is 4%, which is excellent. The percent profitable 90%. I mean, but I've started from here. If I change that, which I will now, I won't limit the backtesting. You can see, and I believe we could change this significantly if, well, obviously if Spotify was enabled to do long and short trades, I could use the enable max trades, and that would definitely help us to one, use a lower time frame to get more trades, and also it would enable us to cut off a trend when you know it's going to switch around. So let me take this back testing off, and we can just see the results when it's before January. And I'm using Saturday and Sunday on this as well, because it didn't, on such a large time frame, it just did not impact the results at all. Okay. So I'm taking that off now. Is it going to do something? Let's see. Oh, maybe I have to do it in here too. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, so you can see, obviously, through the whole bear run, it's taking trades on the way down, and I haven't been able to figure out a way to actually stop that. But I'm really excited because David's, how's that going at the minute, David? With Spotify, do you think is there any chance we can implement something that could possibly make it, enable the longs and shorts? Because you can obviously see the potential in a strategy like that, just a simple trend line break, because that's got no other confluences in the strategy, just that.
Well, I've been looking at the libraries that MKV666 sent me yesterday. There is potential ways of doing longs and shorts for some strategies. Some it won't work with because for instance, if you're looking for a red dot and a green dot or something like that, I can't do that. But I can do a above and a below position, which means that you can kind of manipulate the way that it works and do longs and shorts. There'll be loads more extra options in that part there, where you just did the way that it gets its entry. I've also been able to get a indicator source, a second one on there, but it's only the close, open, high, low, and all of the other sort of like algorithms between the close, low, high, open divided by 4 and things like that. So you'll be able to add 2 indicator sources, but one will be a little bit more limited than the other. Yeah. So I
great.
hope something out today.
Oh, really? Well, that's excellent.
Cool. Yeah,
excellent news.
With boilerplate.
I mean, and I'm not trying to rush you at all. I know you've got many projects on the way. I'm just giving suggestions that this is
no,
obviously quite, it's got a lot of potential to be used. And I was even thinking, because I could take this back to the daily, and I was playing around with it earlier, and for even spot buys and stuff, on the daily, just these trend line breaks, you're getting like a 90% win rate with like 20% profit on each. So if you were using that for spot buys, you're with a fixed percent profit of like 20 something, I think the optimizer gave me, you're getting a 90 something percent profitability. And that's got a very, very small stop loss on it too. So for spot buys, that would be so much better than just buy and hold or even DCA.
Yep, totally agree. I said, I was up last night until about 4ish. I was talking to a couple of people in the general chat, and I've coded quite a lot into it, tried to modify what was suggested, and I will have a copy out today for everybody to test. I don't know if it's perfect. It's just really like a kind of a beta test.
Well, that's the thing. It's all a work in progress, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there a way as well? Because I wanted to put a strategy out to everyone. Because I think it would work a lot better if I was able to take it off of these. See, in their actual trend line breaks, you've got this option to show only confirmed breakout. So that'll wait until the candle closes, and then on a smaller time frame, say we go down to even the hourly. Obviously, the ATR and all of that sort of stuff isn't optimized for the hourly, so you're not going to see the results, amazing results here either. But if I was able to just get it to trigger on these confirmed breakouts, see where it's triggering here, where it hasn't actually broken out again, it's still sort of pyramiding up and back. Is there a way to stop that yet, or in the new version that you're bringing out?
I'll have a look. If you don't mind just sending me the link. Is it Lux Algo's break of trading
Yeah, it
prediction?
is.
Yep.
It
Okay,
is.
cool. I'll download
Yeah,
it
I'll
and
do
test
that,
it.
and we'll work it out later anyway.
Yeah,
I just wanted to show everyone that, and yeah, hopefully I can bring out an optimization that's
yeah, be cool.
that's
Yeah,
really
definitely.
good first spot as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Move back to the.
Hey Mason, is it okay to ask something real quick?
Oh, absolutely. As I said, anytime someone's got a question, please feel free to tune in.
Okay. First of all, I'm just joining. I was busy so far throughout the day. Is everything that you're speaking about being recorded, and will I be able to watch it later?
Yes, indeed.
I believe so. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
It
We've got
most
a
certainly
recording
is.
and a live stream. Both of them are being done at the same time.
Okay, great. And second of all, I just heard you speaking about Spotify, and I heard David say that you wouldn't be able to basically use a trigger signal that is like a green or a red dot on the chart. And I suppose that is because that green dot might be plotted on the chart using the plot shape function. Is that correct?
I believe you're going to have to direct this question to David himself, because the whole coding part of it is not my strong suit. So, David, would you be able to answer that one by any chance? Pass the metaphorical torch, as it were.
Oh, I apologise. I forgot to turn my volume on my mic up.
No worries, mate.
That's me talking to myself again. Yeah. What I was saying was that if there's a green and a red dot, and you wanted to take a short on the red dot and a green long on the green, a short on the red dot and a long on the green dot, that technically isn't possible because it's two different dots in the same strategy. But the library that you sent to me yesterday allows us to add longs and shorts if it's above or below, or even the closed is above or below. And what we were talking about a second ago, maybe a confirmed close above and things like that, are much more possible thanks to the library that you sent me yesterday.
Okay, but I suppose that you cannot read the green and red dots because they're being plotted on the chart via the plot shape function, right?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, but if I use the same logic, like it's a buy signal, and I plot it on the chart via the plot function, and I just include the display.none, I create a separate channel that outputs either a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 0 when that buy signal occurs. And from there on, I can use that separate channel, and I can trigger like long and shorts within the same strategy. So
sorry, can I just cut in for 1 second? If it's all right, we might just continue on with the optimization side of things, and with the coding, I'm sure David will do like a Q&A a little bit later on, and you'll get a chance to speak more
Okay.
about the code
Okay.
and stuff, if that's okay. Is that
Of course, I didn't mean
possible
to
for you,
interrupt.
David? Oh, no,
Absolutely,
no,
absolutely.
that's fine. That's fine. It's just like
MKB, I'll
no
get in with
question's
you
a wrong
sometime
question.
during the day.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. We'll move back to the squeeze momentum
Thank you,
strategy. It
guys.
should be saved. And yeah, no worries, mate. Thanks for the question. Hopefully it got saved in here. I might just change the screen quickly back to the other one rather than the... Can you guys see the screen now that it's on, or do I have to change that over?
I believe we can see your squeeze momentum screen.
The F. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I won't jump back over to the PowerPoint purely because the next part was supposed to be about the watch list, and I do still want to go over that because I'm sure it'll be back up and running shortly. But the way we do that, and this is the point I got to in the strategy before I was about to run through the watch list and check over all of these different coin pairs with the settings that were currently in this strategy. So this hasn't been optimized all the way. This is the strategy I got based on the first sequential run. The first sequential run that I did, that actually gave me, like, the result that come out of the optimizer was far worse than this. It was I think it had a higher profit factor, but a very small amount of trades. The trades were only, it was only 6 less trades, sorry, but the percent profitable was something like 20%. And it did have a higher profit factor, but you weren't winning very many trades, and the max drawdown was up around 40-something%. So that sort of just shows you why actually running through the Excel spreadsheet, you can get so much better results just by picking your preferred optimization settings from that, and by color coding them, it just gives you a much more streamlined way and quicker way to pick those out of the bunch, really. So I'm gonna run over quickly. I think I did take one step more, and that was an annealing optimization. And because we're using risk to reward and ATR, all I did was went over here to the optimizer, went to annealing, which I like annealing more than most, all of the other optimization settings for pretty much for narrowing down results on just, say, 2 different settings that are, how do I say, sort of working together. So, for example, your ATR and your risk to reward, profit factor long, profit factor short, they directly affect each other. So annealing, actually, the way it works is that it runs them all at the same time. It actually does try to shorten the amount of revolutions it needs to get the end result, but it starts by running through all of the settings that are selected, first widening the range of results so it gets as many results as it possibly can from the settings just like it would in random. But then it narrows it down and keeps improving on those results. But instead of us sequentially, like the first results I got, which goes through one by one, starting, I believe that, I'm actually not sure. Is that, David, based off of the priorities? Say if you change the priorities in the right hand side, when you are selecting those, will sequentially will that change which goes first?
Yes, that's right.
That's one thing I'm
in
not.
the
Yeah,
index.
I actually I did think that.
Yes,
And I
in the
had been
priorities
using it.
in that
I
big
just
list.
just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that was the case. Yeah. Anyway, so instead of running through sequentially, because that can sort of mess with your end results a lot, because it won't factor in anything in front of it. So if you're looking at, say, your ATR multiplier, it's going to get the best result for the ATR multiplier. Say that's before your profit factor long, profit factor short. It'll get the best result for the ATR multiplier stop loss with the current settings of the profit factor long, profit factor short. But with annealing mode, it will get the best settings of the profit factor long, profit factor short in confluence with each other. So it will be changing them all at the same time. And instead of, say, their PF long and short are 1.5 when you start the sequential test, it will give you the best ATR results based off of them being 1.5, whereas an annealing won't do that. It will be changing them at the same time. So overall, although it'll take you a lot longer to perform the back test, it will give you the best rounded off results with what you choose. So that's like why I like to group things together. And generally when I start an optimization, I will actually turn up after the sequential test. I'll have a bit of a play around manually, and I'll sort of start turning off these extras and just seeing what it does to the strategy. So I've turned off bull bear power. No, that's already one. Just trying to make it a bit quicker. Yep. So that hasn't really done much, which sort of tells me that it's either not needed, and things that aren't needed, that aren't really changing the end result at all. If I had a bit more time to, and I was doing this to perfect a strategy or something like that, I'd do that on both deep backtesting and regular backtesting, because that may have just affected the deep backtesting results. If it was on an hourly time frame, I wouldn't, or even a half hourly time frame, I wouldn't have to bother, because it gives you so much more data. But because we're on a 5-minute time frame, even though that didn't do much here, that could have done a whole lot in the deep backtesting results. So I'm not really trying to teach anyone how to optimize a 5-minute trading strategy. I'm trying to show everyone how I optimize every strategy that I use, and most of them will be over 15 minutes. So yeah, I'll run through manually and I'll turn that off, and if it doesn't, if it isn't needed, I'll leave it off. Obviously, I'd say when I turn this off, this will make a difference. Okay, so that's given us 2 more trades, and this is the thing with a 5-minute strategy as well, is that if this had been 15 minutes, with a lot more data, that would have been so much more significant to the eye when you turn off something as valuable as order flow, volume flow, sorry, in a strategy. But because it's a 5-minute time frame, you just don't get that. So but it has lowered our profit factor, given us 2 more trades. And I wasn't looking at the net profit, but I do know hasn't really done a whole lot to our max drawdown. But that shows me that I would actually prefer to keep it, even though it's given us 2 more trades. Those extra 2 trades, because it took our profit factor down, well, most likely at least 1 or 2 of them would have been a loss. And it shows me that volume flow is clearly important to the strategy, and that would have been why it was in the default settings. Flat market, if I turn that off, that's surely got to do a lot, because it's usually a very important factor in the majority of strategies. Actually, flat market, since David developed that, has been such a great asset to DaviddTech community. See, look at that. That is that's huge. Just from this one extra, and that's got nothing to do with the squeeze indicator. That's just David's flat market indicator. So that shows me that I want to now go away and optimize that as well as I possibly can. So I would turn it back on. I wouldn't actually be doing this first. What I'd be doing is I'd turn them both off now. I'd write them down in a book, and I'd say, okay, I don't need the bull bear power. I do need to optimize both the flat market and the volume. And I'd turn them both off, and even though it'd show up worse results, I would go back and then I would start in groups of, you should probably do groups of 2, but I would do groups of 4 in annealing, because I find that even though I might have to leave it on my screen and have my computer running for 2 days whilst it's running through, because I like to have very small periods of steps. So I'll show you, if I were to go into the optimizer now, annealing mode, I like profit factor all the most by far. It's my favorite. And the majority of what I run will be profit factor all, or if I'm trying to optimize for shorts or longs, I'll use profit factor long or profit factor short, and I'll use total closed trades, obviously, if I want to keep it to a certain amount of trades. Although sometimes I will check, a lot of the time, sorry, I'll check through the Excel spreadsheet pretty much every time I do an annealing back test. Because occasionally you might get, it's happened to me a few times, where you get 1 less trade than what you've put in there. Say this back testing result didn't come back too amazingly or too much better than what it is now, but if I look through the Excel spreadsheet, there might just be 1 group of settings there that has 29 trades, but like the profit factor's 3, the percent profitable 75%, max drawdown's gone down, net profit up. So that's why it's important to go back through those. But yeah, so what I would do is go here. I'd just use the same settings I've got here. I mean, I would actually add to it more than 50%. Sorry, not 50%, because that's what we've got currently. 49% profitable. You don't want to use the same number that you've got there already, because that will negate all of the results that are 50%. And chances are, with a strategy on a 5-minute time frame that is getting these results, if you're not deep back testing it, which I actually do recommend doing, a lot of deep backtesting on a 5-minute time frame. And I do it on every time frame, but I do it in a different way where I will go into replay mode and split it up into month sections, and I'll show you that in a minute. But anyway, I'll go to where is this person? $49 annually. And I'd usually be doing this with the flat market off and the volume off. And then I'd go down and I would go to, and this is what I was talking about before with the groupings. See Bollinger Band length, smoothing period length, typically 20, and the multiplier. Now you're going to want to group those two together. If you are only doing 2 at a time, you know, when you think about how you would optimize, and this is the way I originally thought, I'd just go like that. And that's fine too if you're going to do 3, or just like that, say. But you're not going to get the same results as if you were to, or you're not going to get results as good as if you group 2 that are working together in the same backtest. I'll usually change it. On other strategies, it's a little bit different. I'm not sure. Right now, I'd go back and check in the strategy settings if this can go back down to a standard deviation in 0.1, like if it can go to 1.1, 1.2. And if it could, I'd take the steps down, but I don't believe it can. So I'd just leave it like that. But I'd also change this to 1 step as well, because I like being as thorough as possible in my backtesting. I don't see, throughout the amount of time that I've been backtesting and getting results for pretty much all of David's strategies, the amount of times that I've seen in the Excel spreadsheets that just the difference between having a step of 2 or a step of 1 in the results you'll get is astronomical. It's the difference between a very good, long time profitable strategy and a, all right or not even profitable strategy. So I hate using the default steps. Obviously, they're there because they are just trying to find a range that's easy to backtest. So I would understand if you guys are optimizing and you don't want to sit there like I do and, have to have it sitting on your screen running for 2 or 3 days. So if that's the case, then you just do 2 at a time, because you've only got 124 like you've only got 124 revolutions there, so that's really nothing. But what I would do is try and run as many together as possible, and I end up with 60,000. Or I'd actually take that down, and that's how I would run it. But it would be ridiculous to expect anyone else to. So it's really not going to make a difference as long as you get the pairings correct. To run the Bollinger Band multiplier and length together. But before that, I'd actually just run this one to, like, on its own in random mode, just to quickly check, or you could even do it manually, just to check what's working best for them all right now. So then you just split it into groups and run your back tests